Let's move to another space here on the international front.
Great.
One of the big issues today is the issue of foreign corruption and influence in our elections. So I'll start with you, Charlie. Is it appropriate for a president of any party at any time to solicit assistance from a foreign country to influence our elections?
No, and that's why Hillary Clinton should be tried and put in jail for what she did with Christopher Steele and Fusion GPS. Presidential candidate, I should say. Presidential candidate. To the Ukrainian phone call, it's one of the most intentionally misrepresented phone calls that you could ever come across. He never asked a foreign president to try to intervene to investigate Joe Biden. Instead, the favor he asked for was to try to go after CrowdStrike. It was the president of Ukraine that first brought up Mayor Giuliani. It was the president of Ukraine that brought up the topic of corruption. This phone call is being intentionally misrepresented. And guess what? It was a setup from within our own government. Congressman Adam Schiff changed the whistleblower laws. He met with the whistleblower well before it became public, sat on it for over 2 months. And there's a lot around this, and so if we're talking about foreign collusion with adversaries, I think we should, we are looking into the origins of the Russia investigation and Fusion GPS, which is now a criminal investigation, and we'll see what happens.
All right, Kyle.
Okay, so you were almost there, Charlie. You were so close, but so far at the same time. So, okay, you're actually correct about one thing you said there. Hillary Clinton did indeed try to get foreign help in the election against Donald Trump with Ukraine. But I don't know why you have to be so hacky when you say Trump didn't try to do the exact same thing. That's exactly what he did.
So show me in the transcript, where did he do that?
Listen, there's a reason why Donald Trump's only response now is there was no quid pro quo, no quid pro quo at all. Because that's his only dodge, because he was obviously trying to get dirt as well on Joe Biden.
Show me when he did that. He was asking for the president to go after CrowdStrike, which was foreign meddling in our own election. He never, ever said, ever go after Joe Biden. The idea of corruption.
He was talking about Burisma, and he was talking about the money that Joe Biden was getting paid.
Burisma was never mentioned in the phone call. Now you're inferring, you're looking into it.
You don't have to infer it. He wants him to investigate Joe Biden. What do you think he's investigating him for? Puppies and rainbows? It's for the money he was getting paid.
He said, I want you to go after CrowdStrike. This is a very important thing, because if you look at the actual transcript of the phone call, and you look at who brought up the topics. Right, and by the way, there was no quid and no quo, because the Ukrainian president time and time again said the aid was not intentionally withheld. We didn't even know the aid was withheld. We never made calls about the aid that were withheld.
Doesn't matter. He was still trying to get dirt, and that's obvious. Listen,
but show me in the call where it says that. I mean,
hold on. Please, you sound like Trump with the literal, a direct
facts,
literal interpretation of this is exculpatory of me. Everybody knows what he was trying to do, because he runs the government like a mafia boss. Now, you could like that or dislike that, but it is what he was trying to do. Now, here's the difference between me and you. The difference between me and you is I will admit that Hillary Clinton did indeed try to reach out to the Ukrainian government to get dirt on Trump. And in fact, that's how we learned about Paul Manafort and his corruption, is because Hillary did reach out to the Ukrainian government and did get dirt. Now, I'm willing to say in the case of Hillary Clinton, that's dead wrong. You all need to ask yourself, why is it he can't admit the obvious on the other side? Why is it Donald Trump did nothing wrong at all? It's ridiculous.
So Kyle, I'll ask a third time. I want you to cite the specific part of the transcript call.
Charlie, I don't have the fucking transcript in front of me.
Well, because
why are you being ridiculous?
Because if it existed, if this smoking gun existed, people would say, here's what he said wrong, and here's the specific U.S. criminal code that was violated. It simply does not exist. Instead, they're inferring, and they're saying, this reads like how a mob boss would talk.
You can say Bush was Steele, Trump did nothing wrong. Next question.
This all comes down to this. From spring of 2016, the media talking heads were floating out impeaching Donald Trump. Before he was even elected president of the United States, impeachment was ramped up. And Kyle, you totally and completely agree with this. I know this, that there was something so suspicious and so immoral and so wrong what our own FBI and our own internal government did to this president, to plant information, to use the Democrat National Committee to collude with foreign adversaries, to lie to a FISA court judge, and spy on a political opponent that you might disagree with. And I hope justice will finally be held with that. However, Kyle, I understand that there's pent-up anxiety and dissatisfaction with this president because he won an election that he wasn't supposed to win. However, that does not give you the license to misrepresent what he has done. And time again, the Democrats swing and miss. For 2 years, I was promised some sort of big, huge bellwether revelation of the Mueller report. Oh, Mueller is coming, $30 million taxpayer-funded investigation, and they found absolutely nothing. And what did they do as soon as the Mueller investigation ended? As soon as the Mueller investigation ended, they went to the Ukrainian investigation. This goes down to two very simple things. Number one, they have not accepted the democratically elected president of the United States who won an election he was not supposed to win. Number two, they hate Donald Trump a lot more than they love America.
So I let that play out there. I wanted to get Charlie Kirk's, full response to that question inside there before we get to Kyle KKK Kalinske. Anyways, you saw there, Charlie, when you debate him, if you want to know how to debate, if you want to know how to get your points across and just continue to be just focused, all he does is he knows the set of data, the set of facts that he wants to present. He lays them out precisely, concisely, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then what happens is that the opponent will start to say something, try to interrupt, will interrupt, interject, do whatever. Kyle lets him do, Charlie lets him do that. And then he goes back to the same thing and asks the same question again, reiterates those points again. And in some cases, he'll do it a third time. And that's exactly what you do. You keep hammering the points there, and eventually the crowd and the other people are going to sense that the other guy is either, starts to, do ad hominem attacks, personal attacks, dropping, swear words, dropping the F-bombs, doing all kinds of antics like, falling asleep or whatever, rolling the head, rolling the eyes, whatever that is, and eventually know that there's nothing from the other side other than the crap that is all this other stuff, other than actual facts to back up whatever it is that you want to make your point on. Anyways, let's continue and see what Kyle KKK Kalinske has to say. Because folks, you're watching the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show. I'm your host, Dr. Nasir, and this is what we have on tap for you today, where I give you my political prescription from my political perspective of what happens when you get Kyle KKK Kalinske and Charlie Kirk come colliding together, along with social media, culture, government, politics, policy, religion, and they all come crashing together. Let's get back to the debate right now.
I'm saying they. I'm not saying you. I'm saying the general they.
Listen, thank you for inviting me to the Charlie Kirk monologue night. I really appreciate it.
I'll let you finish on this one.
Right.
Well, if you had something to say, Kyle KKK Kalinske, then maybe you could say it. But you simply don't. That's why Charlie has to step in to set you straight.
Okay, so let me respond to that. I'll sum up what he just said in a really simpler way, and you won't have to sit through it all. Donald Trump, good. Democrat, bad. Very high-minded, Charlie. Thank you very much. So anyway, here's the difference. I'm willing to admit when Democrats do something wrong. What Charlie Kirk will not admit on this stage here tonight is that Donald Trump owns a hotel in Washington, D.C. And oh, would you look at that? The Saudi government just happened to funnel him $300,000 through that hotel. Oh, would you look at that? Donald Trump just approved a multi-billion-dollar weapons deal that goes to Saudi Arabia as they're committing a genocide in Yemen. Now, hold on. Now, I get the sense that if I gave you that exact set of facts and it was the fucking Clinton Foundation, you'd be pretty fucking pissed off. But with Donald Trump, it's nothing. It's nothing.
All right. Let me.
You mad?
Nothing. Nothing. Kyle KKK Kalinske, bruh, dude, you gotta simmer down. Or are you too simmered to continue? My acronym SIMMER, S-I-M-R, is what happens when Democrats start to heat up and start to boil. Mainly because when you make that recipe, you put in like a little pinch of stupidity, right? S, a little bit of idiocy, I, a little teaspoon of M, moronicity, and a whole gob of R, retardedness. In that recipe, you stir it around, and it starts to simmer and boil, and then all of a sudden the top just blows off. What was that? It goes. I mean, that was unbelievable. Let's get back to KKK Kalinske and Charlie Kirk.
Mad, bro?
Let me.
Oh, damn right I'm fucking mad because you're not willing to criticize him for fucking anything.
So
All right, Charlie. I'll let you respond, but hold on. Let me add another dimension to this because we
Doth protest too much, I think, is how the old quote goes. But
so this has been framed in the lens of corruption.
Yeah,
and so
happy
we've
to
talked
respond to
about what Biden's son did. So how do you weigh the corruption of what Biden's son did with what the Trump kids are doing internationally? Do you put them on the same level?
yeah, I'm happy to respond. So,
Yeah, and also importantly, how do we fix that in the future? How do we prevent future kids of politicians from profiting off of their offices?
Yeah, if you're looking for someone to defend Saudi Arabia, you know this, Kyle. I'm not going to do that. I think that our inside-out alliance to Saudi Arabia has been a mistake for the last 20 or 30 years, and they've misdirected us throughout the Middle East. And no, I don't support their proxy war of Yemen. So there I am, disagreeing with something.
What about the $300,000 that went to Trump?
Number two, I'm happy to respond to that. I think it's laughable, to be honest, when a guy has a net worth of $3.8 billion and has hundreds of millions of dollars going through his entire international organization, that somehow he's influenced by $300,000 at a D.C. asset hotel to approve a weapons deal. I mean, if that...
There you go.
You're the conspiracy theorist if you think that's actually what's happening. I'm going to approve a Saudi weapons deal because my companies do hundreds of millions of dollars, and I don't know, the Saudis bought did $300,000 in hotel nights. Let me go to Joe Biden. Kyle has similar distaste for the Biden family, so I'm not going to loop him into my critique here. However, conventional Democrats are protecting Joe Biden and yet trying to parallel it against Trump. Here's the big difference. As soon as Biden took office in 2008 as vice president, Hunter Biden went forth and sought international deals. He went on a board in Burisma that he was totally unqualified for, that he didn't speak the language, he had no familiarity with the territory or region, he had no understanding of natural gas or upstream development, earning $80,000+ a year, not to mention his deal with the Chinese where he went on Air Force 2 halfway across the world with Chinese officials and 6 days later secured a $1.5 billion investment deal for his fund, of which he was uniquely unqualified to run for. What's the difference with the Trumps? The day that their father became the president of the United States, they stopped all international business deals.
Wrong.
They did not sign one new deal. The only international business that they did were deals that were on the books for 5+ years more. Kyle, you're entitled to an opinion, but you're not entitled to your own facts.
I know, Charlie. Nice political talking point you got there. Who'd you get that from? John Kasich? Okay. So listen. Here's the bottom line, and I hope everybody looks this up. You know how much money Jared and Ivanka made since Donald Trump became president? $83 million in 1 year. If you think there's nothing wrong with that, I got a bridge to sell you.
So these were previously owned assets. They did not sign one new deal since they were in the administration. Point to me one new deal the Trump family signed since Donald Trump became president.
You don't make $83 million in 1 year
name another.
without being a grab bag of corruption.
Jared comes from
and you know this.
Called the Kushner Companies that own some of the most valuable assets in New York. So that income was deals that were already signed and revenue streams that were already established. The Bidens, the big difference, as soon as his dad became president, he said, it's money time. He went to Burisma. He went to Hungary and did some very questionable legal deals that are just coming out right now. And he got $1.5 billion from our greatest enemy, the Chinese, into his own fund because he took the Chinese on Air Force 2 halfway across the world. That is morally objectionable. If the Trumps went to China and came back with $1.50, the media would publicly crucify them. They have done nothing of the sort.
So
this is the thing that happens with leftists and lunatics like Kyle KKK Kalinske. They want to bring about the fact that President Trump profited while he was in office and his kids profited while he was in office versus Biden and the Biden family and the Biden children, especially Hunter. Now, if you want to say and bring up into a law that anybody that runs for president, can't be a millionaire, can't be a billionaire, or has got to sell everything that he has and get rid of everything, I mean, there is that route, but that's never going to happen. That's never, ever going to happen. You have a multi-billionaire who runs for president and has got his business dealings in all sorts of business avenues. And his kids are there running it. Now, the fact that they didn't sign any new deals, didn't do anything at all, both he and his extended families, that says a tremendous amount in terms of the Trump. But yes, what happens, suppose, for example, the stock market goes up 10, 15%, and you say, oh, you know what? The Trumps profited from the stock market because then you could say if he had done it after he was inaugurated and done something like that, that would have been a different story. But all that stuff's put into a blind trust. And if you've got revenue streams that are coming from real estate properties, as rents go higher, as buildings and properties appreciate, and there's a renewed, um, system of finding out, okay, what your net worth is and what you made your assets, and that increases, just like Charlie was saying there, that Ivanka and Jared Kushner, as Kyle KKK Klinsky was saying, they made $83 million. Yeah, so what? They have every right to do what because their father's president. Okay, they have to stop earning money. That they have, sell their assets, sell their properties. What type of an idiot, what type of a moron, what type of a retard is going to do that or listen to you just because you think it's supposed to be done? It's two completely different narratives. But trying to frame that narrative that Trump profited, his kids profited, that's a narrative that these leftists are trying to perpetrate on the American public. And we all know that's a pile of crap. Anyways, folks, we appreciate you taking the time to watch. You've been watching the Dr. Nasir Sheikh Show. I've been your host. My name is Dr. Nasir. If you haven't done so already, we'd love for you to subscribe to the channel, like, share, and follow us. Y'all know what to do. Take a look at our video links above and below. My final thought is always, when you're right, you're right. And when you're left, you're wrong. Until next time, folks, take care and stay safe.